The COVID pandemic has brought to light the serious growing problem of poor mental health for youth, particularly adolescents throughout our region. However, prior to the COVID, the CDC had already reported a significant upward trend in rates of anxiety and depression in 2019, which were further intensified by the COVID pandemic. This morning, Bethany Eigel, Virginia Cooperative Extension 4-H agent, joins us to talk about the ways that our community, and not just parents, can play a huge role in improving conditions and opportunities for mental health wellness. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Kianna. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I think we cannot stress this topic enough. And you say that it starts with awareness. How does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that not just parents, but anyone who is working, and I'm focusing especially on our tween and teen populations, those that work with those populations or our family members need to know some signs, looking for more anxiety, sense of loss in those students or in those teens that they are in contact with, and expression or the opposite, withdrawal, not participating in their normal activities or showing their usual behaviors. And it's an opportunity to have a conversation. And I think that because of the sensitivity and the nature of that conversation, we sometimes hold back as adults. We know teenage behavior to be one in which they're not by the parent side all the time, and they're not necessarily thinking adults are cool. And so we might think that that's normal for them to be withdrawn to their bedroom for hours at a time, but it's probably a sign. It's probably a time to have a conversation. How are you feeling? And then our role is to really listen. And that's maybe the hardest part, because we as parents, we as adults, myself as a youth development professional, we sometimes want to jump in and we want to fix things. We want to find solutions, when really with our teens and our tweens, they want a sounding board. They want to vent, they want to share and be heard without judgment, and maybe not with a solution to their problem, but just to share that with an adult and to feel heard. And what we can do is validate that. We can let them know that what they're sharing and what they're saying is valid, and we hear them.
Absolutely. Here, listen, I have 3 teens, almost 4 teens at home. So everything you're saying, I completely can relate to. So let's talk
Yes.
about the challenges that teens are facing.
Yes. So the teenage years are this wonderful time for exploration, but it's a lot of angst and anxiety that comes with that just naturally. It is natural, and that's something that we can also provide as adults, is to say, hey, what you're feeling is normal. It's scary while you're going through it. What you're feeling is normal levels of some anxiety, feeling uncertain as they go through a lot of different changes during this time frame, right? They are experiencing physical and emotional changes. But this is also like the key time for them to find their tribe. And we are tribal people. We need a tribe, even introverts like me. We need that sense of belonging, and it's not always going to come from a household, unfortunately. And we all know that to be true, that not every young person is fortunate enough to have a tribe or a sense of belonging just naturally set forth within their family. So they're really looking for that within friendships and within sports teams or bands or clubs like 4-H programs. And if they aren't able to connect in that way, they can feel really isolated and alone. And that is what has been exacerbated by this COVID-19 pandemic, is that feeling of isolation, not being able to connect and plug in with your tribe. And so we really need to find ways, creative ways, to get our teens back engaged. And I think that a lot of schools and even our colleges and universities are reporting that sense of a new normal, right? It's still a little bit different, but there is an overwhelming feeling of student mental health getting a little bit better since we've seen more schools going back in person. And that can be attributed to what I was speaking about, being plugged back into your tribe.
All right, well, this is a great conversation. We're going to continue the conversations after the break. Suggestions on how we can prevent a mental health crisis in our teens. Stay with us.